Well, see that behind me? That right there is a courthouse. Why, you may ask? It's because I am being sued. Part of the casualties of doing business, the cost of doing business, is that anybody can sue anyone. So if anyone is unhappy with anything, they can leave Google reviews and Yelp and Facebook reviews, but they can also go as far as taking you to court for absolutely any claim that they feel like for a cost of $35 in a filing fee. It's really a huge bummer, but it is the cost of doing business. And today's video, it's really a bummer. You're gonna come to court with me because of a stupid story and an unfortunate incident. So my name is Craig from Flying Wheels. Today's not that fun of a video, but let's get going. So I am being sued, and it's been 2 years, and today is the hearing. It is a long, drawn-out process over something very silly that is documented, but in a world where anybody can sue anyone, this is the casualties of doing business. So I own a car dealership, and in the 12 years of me doing business, now 13 years of me doing business, I've been sued 2 times. This will be my 3rd. I have never lost because, number 1, I cover my butt, and number 2, I'm not out to cheat anybody, so I'm going in telling the truth. I'm not doing anything wrong. But anyone can sue anyone if they feel soured, just like they can leave a bad negative Google or Facebook review. So 2 years ago, I sold a Corvette to somebody with 75,000 miles. They drove it. I was asking $40,000 for it. He beat me up down to 36,000, said it would be an easy sale. I sold it to him. Shortly after that, he came back with a rear end light on and like a bad misfire, like a tapping in the engine. So I said, I have no idea what that is, and to be honest with you, my warranty company won't warranty race cars. I told you that up front. You can't buy a warranty for it. It's sold as is because people abuse race cars and they just can't put a warranty on. There's too much liability. I said that at the purchase. So he bought it as is, knowing he bought the car as is. Shortly after, I don't know what he did. Now, I drove the car. I enjoy the car. It's amazing. Shortly after that, he did something wrong with the engine. So I said, you know what? Have it shipped to the dealer. They know better than me. Have them check it out. I gave them a number to a tow truck company. Lo and behold, I should have known right from the start, I get a bill from the tow truck company. I called the tow truck company and said, hey, listen, that was supposed to be billed to the customer. Oh, customer said, bill you. Nice. So that's how it's going to start. I called my dealer that I send all my stuff to, the Chevy dealer, and said, hey, this is what's happening. I sold the car. Here's what's going on. It's the customer's responsibility. I just want to let you know he's going to be dropping it off. Dealer went through the car, said it's a lifter problem. It's a cam problem. It needs to either be rebuilt, the engine needs to be rebuilt, or it needs a new engine. Now, we're talking about a Chevy dealer. The Chevy dealer wanted $11,000 for a new engine on this Corvette. Now, that is for a brand new engine on a 75,000 mile Corvette. The customer called me and obviously wants me to pay for it. So I said, honestly, listen, you bought it as is, but that stinks. That is really a bummer that happened. Let me price out some similar engines for you. So I'm not, just like a warranty company, we're not gonna pay to put a brand new engine in. Now, number 1, you bought it as is, okay? You negotiated $4,000, you bought it as is, it's your car. I'm just trying to do something nice for you because this stinks. It stinks you spent $36,000 on a car and then the engine blows up at some point because of who knows what you did to it. Let me price out an engine, see what I can come up with. I found a Z51 package Corvette engine with 75,000 miles for $4,700. So I called them and said, hey, listen, one of my vendors has this engine. We can get it for you. I'll order it. You can have my price. You just buy the engine. Well, he didn't want to do that. So after just talking to him, I said, you know what? I'll cover the engine. You cover the labor. That is the price of the engine. Anything more than that, you're going to have to pay for it. Come on in. I'll write you a check. So I wrote him a check for $4,000 and change, and I'll go over the details later. And I paid the shipping bill. Now, there's a lot to it. You don't just write checks for people out of the kindness of your own heart. He was a customer of mine. He was a good guy. I didn't want to burn him. I didn't want him to go sour, so I tried to take care of him. I ended up making zero money on the car. There's a lot more to it than that. You need to make sure you're covering your butt. Now, here we are. I'm being sued for $4,000, $5,000, $8,000, whatever amount it is, because the customer decided to put a brand new engine in it. So how is it my responsibility to put a brand new engine in a customer's car that has 75,000 miles? Doesn't really seem logical, especially since we have a signed agreement. But like I said, nobody's word means anything. Signatures don't mean anything because everybody can sue anybody.
Continue on south.
So now we have to go to court and see how it comes up. Let's go to court now. So here I am, you'll see the courthouse behind me. Am I nervous? Yes, because you never know. I mean, you don't know what kind of mood the judge is in. You don't know if he's ever been burned by a car dealer and despises car dealers. You never know how it's gonna go. Even if you crossed your I's, dot your T's, have your paperwork done, and know you're in the right, you still don't know. So I'm at the mercy of the courts now. I'm gonna go in and I could owe this guy $8,000 for no reason at all after I already wrote him a check for $5,000. Today was just a hearing to reschedule my mediation and hearing. So could have done all of it in one, but the plaintiff's attorney didn't have the time, so we had to reschedule. So now I have to come back again. But the big bummer is today I was supposed to be at the Virginia Auto Auction because they have their classic car sale. So I was supposed to be in Virginia looking at classic cars right now. So who knows what that could have cost me. Number one, in not making video content, and number two, not buying things that I could have sold and enjoyed. So today is chalked up as a total loss, and it's still not over with. So Craig, how did you miss the court hearing, you may ask? I have no idea. I am so meticulously organized. This was from almost 2 years ago. This was a purchase and a sale from almost 2 years ago. It's April now. It was sold in August 2020. Everything was filed in April 2021. It is now April 2022. So it took a year for everything to kind of actually get in place. I haven't received any notification about anything since May of 2021, which I thought was weird. I thought, hey, maybe it's just they forgot about it and it ended and it kind of wiped itself away. Well, it didn't. Apparently, back in February, I had a hearing I didn't know about because I never got notification. So I missed the hearing, which means an automatic default, which means I automatically lost, which means I owe this customer $8,000. But you can appeal that. You can file a motion to vacate, and I did. And today's hearing was that, and it was approved. The only problem is the judge actually goes through the files and he can see who electronically received emails, and he sees that it was sent. Now, apparently they can see if the file was even opened, which is better than getting a signature confirmation or a hand delivery or being served, because you can see that email was open. I was flabbergasted. I mean, I didn't see this email. It was sent back in October. He said it was open. He said, oh, no, I'm sorry. It shows it was never open. And that shows that I was telling the truth, that I never received this email. I don't know where it went. And I also printed a list of every time I have received notifications and been put in a file, all of them. I printed them all out and I showed him, and he said, yes, you know what? I don't see it here. I showed him through 2 different searches, and I screenshot and I printed them and I highlighted them. And then he looked and saw that his email wasn't open. So I was approved for a new hearing, which is where we're at right now. So today is the day we're back in court for the Corvette, and I gotta tell you, I hate the word anxiety because everyone overuses it, but I am anxious today. I am really nervous because it could potentially cost me $8,000+ over someone else's ignorance. No matter what you make as an agreement, I mean, does it matter? Are agreements even a thing anymore? Are signed contracts even a thing anymore? We'll find out today. And I am nervous about going in there, but I'm prepared, I'm ready. It's a Friday, and it's Friday at 8 a.m. and it's a holiday. It's like tomorrow, so I'm planning on going up to the lake. Right after this, everybody's already up there. I wasn't able to go up because of this court date, so my family's already up north enjoying themselves, and here I am on my way to court, and you guys are joining with me. I'm going to try to bring the camera in. For having a hearing, you're going to mediation, which is these rooms with the mediator, his attorney, myself. I'm going to step outside and explain how everything went right now. All right, that went really, really well. And as expected, it went exactly as I expected. You can see them walking away right there, the attorney and the plaintiff, and the attorney shut it down quickly. He shut it down very quickly. Now I'm gonna start by saying there's something I always tell you watching me right now. There's always something I say. What is it? CYA. Cover your rear. It's super important to cross your T's, dot your I's, make sure you are always covering yourself in every step you make with documentation, with saved text. You never know who's gonna take advantage of you. Now I'm gonna recap this one more time. I sold this person a Corvette, a 2015 Corvette with 76,000 miles. Now even GM, Chevy reduced their warranty on the powertrain because they had valve and cam issues. Now you don't know when it's gonna happen. It's like a ticking time bomb. It just goes. And unfortunately, these Corvettes, they're just not built right. And sadly, this is what happened to the plaintiff. He bought it. I don't know what he did with it, but I put several hundred miles on it. And after I sold it to him, he returned it with a check engine light and a rear differential light, which I've never even seen on Corvettes. So what was he doing to that car that turned a rear differential light on? I didn't even know that was a thing. So then he came back to me and I said, there's nothing I can do. I'd recommend recommend going to the Chevy dealer that I take my Corvettes to have them diagnose it. They diagnosed it and they said there's a cam problem, it's not even worth doing, replace the engine. So I said, well, that's fine, but I'm not putting brand new Z51 Corvette engine. That's gonna be crazy expensive. So let me price it out for you. So I found used similar engines with 80,000 miles roughly for $4,600 was the least expensive one I could find. Now that doesn't include labor. So I told the plaintiff that, listen, it's unfortunate. So I said, here's the deal. You bought it as is. You bought it with no warranty, no returns. You declined the warranty on it. There's nothing I need to do. But you're a customer of mine. I want to make sure you're taken care of. We have a relationship. Let me cover the cost of the engine. You cover the labor or anything else you want. If that's not the engine you want, you pay the additional price. I think that's pretty fair, as I don't have to do anything for you, but I'm willing to in goodwill and faith only. Now he swore at me up and down and he said, I don't know who the F I'm dealing with. You don't know, I don't know who he is or what can happen to me. He threatened me. And to be honest with you, I get it. Like, I can't fault him for it because he just bought a car for $36,000. The engine went. I would be so pissed as well. And I like to think of myself as a reasonable man, a calm man, and I like to take care of people. And I'm going to explain that in even further detail because unfortunately that just cost me $5,000. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about that. So we did come to an agreement, and it was that I would pay $5,000 towards an engine. And when the engine is out, I get the core back. I want that engine because I can build that. That is an amazing race car engine that I could build up. I want that core. He said, okay. So I gave him $4,500 and I paid his tow of $125 to the dealership. Now here's where it's important to CYA. We drafted up an additional document and I'm gonna read it to you. And this is what saved my butt. And before I even read that one, I'm gonna read you what his claim is in court. On or about August 2nd, 2020, the plaintiff purchased a 2015 Chevy Corvette from the defendant, Flying Wheels. The purchase price of the vehicle was $36,000. The plaintiff paid for the vehicle and then the engine in the vehicle went, requiring a replacement. Defendant agreed to pay for the engine to be reinstalled on the Corvette. The engine was replaced by the Chevy dealer at the direction of the defendant, saying, I told them to replace the engine at the Chevy dealer, which is not true. The defendant paid $4,500 towards the replacement cost instead of the $12,500 it did cost. The defendant breached the contract relative to the sale of the automobile and payment for replacement engine. Defendant owes plaintiff sum of $8,000. That is all just made up. He just made up a claim. And what's weird about court, about our judicial system, is that you can just make things up. You can just lie and sue people for any reason. It's wild. Now, this is where the CYA comes in, and let me read this to you. In the original bill of sale, I read verbatim, this vehicle is being sold as is with no warranty, returns, guarantees expressed or implied. It's sold as is. The vehicle has been inspected by the buyer and is in running condition. He looked at it and he saw it running. It's been discounted from its retail value in consideration of any possible repairs it may need. It was $40, he paid $36. Upon signature and payment, the buyer assumes sole responsibility and liability. In no way will the seller, dealer, and or current owner any longer be held liable. He is assuming full responsibility for that vehicle and will not hold me liable. That right there says everything. Now that isn't the only CYA part, because I breached this contract by giving him $4,625. What do you mean, Craig? Well, we told him as is. We told him I'm not liable, but then I gave him money, which means, oh, I do hold a liability towards it. Let me help you out and assume some liability, right? So I just breached my contract by doing that. Cover your butt. Here's the next step. After we came to the agreement of $4,625 to help the customer in goodwill and faith only, I drafted up a new agreement. Purchaser had unforeseen engine problems after purchase. Recommended taking to GM dealer. GM dealer had a large bill to repair existing engine. Other options were to replace engine. Vehicle was sold as is with no warranty. Selling dealer, Flying Wheels, found direct fit match replacement engine for $4,600. Dealer is giving $5,125 to plaintiff to assist in repairs in goodwill and faith only. Plaintiff assumes, I'm not saying his name, so I'm saying plaintiff instead. Plaintiff assumes full responsibility for engine choice and repair costs from here and will not hold dealer liable. Plaintiff agrees not to speak ill of Flying Wheels and or dealer and disparage, besmirch, post negatively on social media, or leave any reviews other than positive to, in, or in any means that could tarnish the reputation of the seller and or dealer. If doing so, action could be pursued by dealer in court of law, and purchaser agrees that he will be held liable and responsible to return the $5,000 to the dealer, signed by both purchaser and seller. Now, the reason I get this paperwork is because people lie. You cannot trust people, especially in this business. I am just a used car dealer. Nobody gives an F about me, and they will take advantage of me every opportunity they can. And that is why it is so important to cover your butt. Now, let me tell you how the court case went. First, you go into court, you sign in. Then you have to have an instant mediation if it's over $5,000 claim. Now, the claim claim was for $8,000, so we went into mediation. Now, I know that I sent these documents to the attorney a year ago, but for some reason, he must not have received them. So we went into mediation. The plaintiff was really mad, and he was not moving back on his $8,000 claim. He said what he said, again, what he wrote, which was untrue. I countered and said that is untrue. Here's the documentation we have that says we had an agreement, and that is why I have a counterclaim. Why do I have a counterclaim? Because it gives me a leg to stand on. If he's just suing me, I have no pushback. He's pushing me, I'm pushing back, we stand still. If he's just pushing me, I have nothing to push back with. So that is why I filed a counterclaim a year plus ago. I'm suing him for my money back. He's suing me for $8,000. I'm pushing, he's pushing. He lied, I did not. When the mediator said, can you prove this? And I said, yes, here's the document. The attorney said, do you mind if I take a look at that? He read it. Now, while he was reading it, the plaintiff said several times in mediation, it's a $50,000 car. Of course I'm upset. He was heated. Of course I'm upset. It's a $50,000 car. He only paid $36,000. If we couldn't come to agreement and that goes into court right after mediation, I'm using that. Mr. Bale several times, it's a $50,000 car. Today, he paid $36 plus $12, so he owned it for $48, $2,000 under. I also gave him almost $5,000, so take off $5. He only owns that car for $43,000, which means he has $7,000 positive equity that he just admitted to in court. Now, my sister dated a guy that works at a Chevy dealer. He, a year ago, went and looked for a new Chevy pickup truck. Well, while he was talking to the salesman, he spoke terribly about me and my business. Well, guess what? That guy knows me, and he reached out to me and said, hey, this guy was really saying some bad stuff about you. That goes against our agreement. He said he would not speak poorly of me or the dealership. So when I presented it, he got heated again, and he said, yeah, I had a conversation. He doesn't like you either because of the way you do business. So now he just admitted 2 different times that he went against our signed agreement. In court, he admitted to breaching our signed agreement. So when the mediator said, all right, what is going to make this go away? Let's just come to an agreement. What is fair to the both of you? Now, I know I have this in the bag. I can get my $4,625 back. I can get that money back. I'm not that type of person. I don't need the $4,600. And he's already mad at me. I don't need to rub dirt in the wound. I don't need it. Would I love it? Yeah, I would freaking love another $4,600 in my pocket, but I don't need it. So I'm not gonna go low enough to say, I win and you owe me another $4,600. That's just, it's right, but it's not necessary. So what did I say? I spoke up first and I said, listen, you're claiming against me, I'm claiming against you. I have a signed agreement, just wipe it clean. You go away, I go away, problem's over, we walk away just as equal parties and it's finished. He said, no, absolutely not. I want my $8,000. I said, I'm not willing to do that. I'm not gonna do it. And he said, fine. You're willing to take off $4,600, let's just split it. You just owe me half of the $8,000, give me $4,000, we'll call it even. I said, I'm not willing to do that. I'd rather go to court. And then I'd present the paperwork to the judge and see how it goes. Right away, his attorney said, Mr. Bale, with you outside, and I was listening. I could hear what they're saying, and he said, I highly suggest you dismiss your case. This will go to trial, and there's a high probability that he will win because your signature is on this document. 30 seconds later, they walked in and said, we'll dismiss it if Flying Wheels dismisses their case. Sign both agreements, it's over, case is finished. Why? Because you covered your butt, because nobody cares about you as a car dealer. Everyone is out for themselves, everyone is thinking about numero uno and doesn't care about anyone else. Now, I should have attacked him for that $4,600. Why? Because he broke several contracts. I'm not on vacation with my family today because I'm in court. I had to go to court twice. I had to create a file. I had to be stressed for a year and a half about this. I am owed $4,625. But you know what? The past is in the past. I don't care. I just want it over with. And that, I think, is pretty reasonable. And when I say I'm a reasonable man, those are the decisions I make to try to take care of people, even though they come back negatively on me. I gave somebody $4,600 out of my own pocket. Guess what? He's unhappy. I didn't give him $4,600. Guess what? I'm $4,600 richer and he's still unhappy. So sometimes, like, you have to judge your customer, and this one, I misjudged him and it still took it in my rear because I did a good deed for somebody. So you really have to watch how you're handling things, and you really have to take care of yourself because no one else will. Just be good to people, but cover your own butt. I hope this was entertaining for you guys because it was like high stress for 2 years for me. I mean, it is 2 summers worth of, he bought that in August. It's July 2 years later. So this is just awful. Awful, but it's over. It's gone. I should have gone to court. I should have collected my $4,600, but I just want it to be done. That's it. I hope this video was helpful. helpful. I hope it makes some YouTube revenue to help recoup the expenses. If it was helpful, do me a favor, educational, informative, whatever. Thumbs ups are just appreciated to help boost the algorithm. If you want more car information, more business information, make sure to subscribe down below. If you're a car dealer or want to get into this business, I'll tell you what, it's tough, but it's lucrative. If you want to learn how to do this stuff and cover yourself in more detail and learn how to really do what I do the way I do it, look up startyourdealership.com, because I teach you in much more depth about how stuff like this works. Guys, I'll see y'all later. Thanks for joining me in my headaches and misery sometimes. Adios.